Hi guys. Hi everybody. Welcome to the
Good
kitchen.
to see you, David. Are you well? Are you better now?
I'm a little better. Yeah. I've been back. I'm trying to this live streaming app is really either I'm dumb or it's really buggy because this is just like so I finally logged in. I got it to I think we're streaming. I don't even know.
It looks like it is.
Yeah, we are. But now remember last time how now it's hung up again, which means I don't get any of the comments or anything. And I'm not going to refresh it because we all know what happens. It starts a new stream. Yeah. So here I am, just kind of sitting here.
When you click in the main box, does it still stay in the background?
I'm clicking.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well.
In any case. So, oh my goodness, we have so many audio meters. I got mine up here if we need them. We've got Hasmuk's. We've got audio meters. Wow, my goodness. Overflowing with audio meters. Jill Ginther, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Now, are you coming to us by way of Ray Harwood?
I am. Yes.
Wow. It's a real honor to have you here. Thank you. Are you okay if we just kind of do our rounds and say our hellos and then we can...
Sure, of course.
Say hi. Yeah. All right. Hi. We're doing the hellos. Hi. Hey, Mike, say hi.
Mike, say hi. Okay.
Mike, say hi. Mike, say hi.
I did. Looking forward to what Jill's going to talk to us about. It's a bit of a surprise, so we'll find out what Jill's all up to.
It was to me too until Ray popped it into the Discord. I love it.
I know. And considering we're concerned about Zoom bombers, that was a new name. So,
right, Jill, are you a Zoom bomber?
Yeah. Hopefully, I didn't put anybody on guard. Like, oh no, what's going to happen?
No, you used your full real name, so there you go.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Robert, how are you, sir?
I am very, very well, thank you. Been busy, non-business this week. It's all been around the home, but busy.
That's nice. That's very nice. Mr. Frank, Professor Frank, how are you, sir?
Oh.
Good to see you.
I'm good, thanks.
Good. And I see Bill is here. He wrote in the chat, which I don't have open right now. No audio video for me today, but good to see everyone. Bill, it's good to see you too. And Hasmuk is here, hiding, slinking around in the background somewhere. And Ray is here. Ray, I actually just sent someone your way today. Hopefully they will reach out to you. It was for a consult on Zoom events. But Ray, do you want to introduce Jill? And by the way, I should just say, that we'll say hello to Jill and we could talk about that. There were a gazillion updates this week. We got an update to an update to cuts, an update to ISO, an update to OSC, an update to tiles. We got the update to the streaming app. They have been very, and it was on vacation this week. So you can only imagine what's going to happen when he's actually working, when he's doing something. Just amazing. We can talk about some of those updates. And a quick hello to Lois. Good to see you here, Lois. Ray, you want to say hello and introduce us?
Yeah. Based on the events from last week, and I was just watching on YouTube because I had some other things that were kind of going. And, I see something change in the window where I have it, and I look up and then that image is gone, but indelibly, etched into my brain and a little bit of chaos after that. And I remember a day later, I think I asked, did we make a report to Zoom Trust and Safety? And kind of the answer was no, probably not. And so it's most people know I'm pretty active on the Zoom community, and one of the benefits I've kind of garnered with that over time is some contacts within Zoom. And I reached out to a couple of my Zoom community Zoomies and said, hey, we've got this thing, and sure would be nice maybe if we could get someone from Trust and Safety out here to just kind of talk to us about how to handle these sorts of things, and maybe a little overview of the research process or whatever's happened when we actually do report people. And so, I would love to say that Jill and I have been friends for years, but I just met her yesterday, and she agreed to come on briefly today. I know she probably has a couple other things going on, but that's how Jill arrived. And thank you, Jill, for coming on.
Oh my goodness, yes, thank you so much, Jill. So maybe before you jump in, Jill, would it be okay? Let's just refresh people's memories about what kind of happened last week. So I left, and then the whole thing went to crap. Apparently that's what happened. So actually, Mike, can you just kind of fill us in on what happened? And
Sure. And I
Sorry,
promise,
please do.
David, I won't actually take that personally. So no, everything did not go to heck in a head basket, but unfortunately we had a friendly neighborhood Zoom bomber that had decided to bomb us, and very quickly we were able to get rid of that person. So everything in the end was very, very good. But again, we've had this happen quite often, and again, because of our popularity starting to grow quite a bit in the community, as well as in other communities, as well as on YouTube, we are starting to see more and more that there's attempts on coming into the actual Zoom meeting and actually doing an awesome job of bombing us. So,
but there was an ancillary piece of this puzzle, and Jill, I'm not sure if this is if you can help us with this at all, and that was that we were told by someone in the office hours community that we should take down the YouTube, stop the live stream. Sorry, so we got rid of the Zoom bomber. We were then told we should stop the live stream and delete the video on demand, because otherwise it's possible that Zoom's little monsters behind the scenes will flag it as going against their standards. And so we sort of, well, I should say, without really thinking about it, because I wasn't feeling well and I was driving home, we immediately shut down the live and took down the VOD. So part of this puzzle for me is, did we overreact with those things? But Jill, I'll stop talking now.
Yeah, no, I'm more, that's why I'm here, to help answer some of those questions for you. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm happy to meet with you. Jill Ginther is my name. I'm the senior manager for the Trust and Safety team at Zoom. And I manage the team that actually handles all of the incoming reports. And so I did want to assure you that it doesn't matter what level of account you have. We review every single report, and every report receives a response. And part of, you had mentioned that one thing that you would be interested in is knowing what that investigation process looks like.
Before you do that, Jill, how do you make a report? How do you report a bad actor to Zoom?
You can use the green shield that's at the top right-hand corner, or you can, and that's from reporting within the meeting, or you can go to the Zoom Trust and Safety form after the fact, and you can submit a report then.
So let me just show folks so you all can see. So so this is our meeting right down here, and up at the top, you've got the green check bar, which if I remember correctly, used to be on the left-hand side. So if you're on 6.3, they moved it over here. It'll probably, for most people, be closer to the view button, because you're not live right now. I'm live streaming and I've got original sound enabled. But in any case, you click on that guy, and then down at the bottom, you've got a report, and you just click on that, and then you're going to be able to choose which user you want to report, and then what happened. If
If that person's gone, are they still on the list?
That's where I was going. Yeah.
Yeah.
What will happen is, so if they won't be listed because it's based upon the participants at the time, but if you happen to remember the name that they went by or something that they, even one of the letters or something like that, anything that gives us something to go by, then that is sufficient, and that we can look at, especially if you've kicked the person out, that helps us, because then we can track to say, okay, whose name started with an H and was kicked out.
Wow.
So that kind of helps us. And then also there's, various factors that often indicate that someone is there for nefarious reasons, such as, not, join times and all sorts of different things. So for example, most of the time, if someone's intending on disrupting a meeting, they don't join right at the very beginning. They tend to join after it's already started. And so those are some of the indicators that we look for. Regarding your video, though, Zoom doesn't review them. So I guess it would have, to answer your question directly, yes, because we don't, Zoom's very privacy oriented, and we don't actually proactively monitor videos or meetings. We are reactive in that when we receive a report, we'll look into it. So as far as being concerned about, our video is on YouTube, will Zoom then go and report to YouTube that there was this content on there that violates, our terms of service? No, we won't. Yeah. So that's that.
Robert, do you want to jump in real quick, please?
Yeah, just on the YouTube issue. I know you're not from YouTube, Jill, and I'm really happy that you're here. But do you happen to know what YouTube will do with a video like that, with a small piece of something that is improper?
I think that most of the time within moderation worlds, they don't tend, I think that what would happen is if it was reported to them, through somebody viewed the video and then reported directly to YouTube, they might, based upon their terms of service and community guidelines, if it violated that, then they might make the decision to take it down. But that is specific to what their terms of service are, but as far as Zoom doesn't proactively reach out to YouTube asking, because it's hosted on their platform, not ours. Yeah.
Thank you.
Lois, go ahead, please.
So after the fact, once a YouTube video is no longer recording, you can simply go in and edit the YouTube. It's not hard to chop out a little bit. So we could certainly salvage whatever we did after the fact.
That's a good point.
The suggestion was that their bots are scraping live videos as moment by moment, and that depending on when we got to actually excising that one piece, it may be too late. I don't know, but
that would be specific to YouTube. Yeah.
Exactly.
Should invite someone from YouTube.
Yeah,
right. No, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be good.
On the flip side, Zoom does not do that because of,
Right.
for privacy purposes, Zoom's not paying attention to this meeting. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And David, I just wanted to mention what ended up happening to me, because I'm, as David is usually the host, one of my jobs is not only to watch the YouTube feed, but I'm also watching for bombers. And unfortunately, there was a couple of times that there was a bomber that came in. I just wanted to let everybody know what I had to do as a co-host. So when I actually kicked out that person, again, the Zoom client asked me specifically, and of course this is information goes to Jill and her group, is specifically then, instead of actually having to go up to the green check shield, the checkbox shield, that it actually, because I did a kick out of that person as co-host, it automatically brought me into that window where I filled out the information for Jill and her team, and then it actually sent it to her. So she actually specifically knew person X, a Zoom person, Y, and basically some basic information of what currently was happening at that particular point during the meeting. Unfortunately, it
when
took
you
me away
kick
from
someone-
doing other things, but of course, I was dealing with that at the time.
So when
Yeah,
you
it's
kick someone
designed-
out, it automatically brings you there.
It takes
Right.
you right. Yeah, it populates because we recognize that time is of the essence. You're trying to maintain and continue with your, show or meeting. And so, having to take extra steps is, like doesn't work with the flow. And so it pops up and then you have, you can just enter the information right then, and then it's more of a fluid action. Yeah, but it's also there on the flip side for if any of the participants within the meeting want to report it, they're able to do so as well. It's not limited to just the host, and that would be used through that green shield.
As is
Fantastic.
in the chat.
Robert, did you want to jump in?
No, Jill actually answered my question,
Oh.
the question I had, because anyone can report it. It's not just
Mhm.
the host, and that's super important because
Yes.
that means you can delegate that job to someone.
And you were saying that since you don't do YouTube, you don't know about their recordings. What about if we were recording on Zoom? Would there be any problem with our recordings?
No, only like I say, we don't, so from Zoom's perspective, if we were, and it's interesting because we don't take action on the recording in and of itself, because that's, what you decide to do with your recording is what you decide to do with your recording. But we would take action against the individual who disrupted the meeting. So any actions that we take, don't negatively impact the recording. So it would be different, just from like a hypothetical standpoint, if we were to receive reports, that indicated that, hey, this group is hosting meetings and it's full of inappropriate content and, of X, Y, and Z that are violating your acceptable use guidelines. And then we're able to see that is actively true, rather than taking action on the videos of themselves. We actually take action against the account or the users that are responsible. And so in turn, because the account gets actioned, those videos are no longer accessible.
Ray, did you want to jump in?
Yeah. My response on occasion is, they were in the waiting room. I'll bring them in. That really, whatever reason, they're not supposed to be there, and there's an issue. If I put them back in the waiting room, can I still generate a report and everything from there and boot them from there? I've never really tried that, but
Yes. Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, you can either just park them in the waiting room, or, or not actually. I mean, it's always good to kick them out if you want, but yeah, you have the choice of, they would be a person that you can select.
Yep.
And then they'll just be booted from the waiting room instead of the actual meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So speaking of waiting room, it's a very effective tool. It's a gatekeeper. And oftentimes if you don't have a waiting room, people will disrupt meetings just solely by the name that they select, that, is, suggestive, if you will, or not able to actually properly vet. Obviously, some people are able to circumvent it, but it does help, at least on the surface level, to keep the riffraff out.
Frank, you want to jump in?
Yeah, thanks. How does Zoom deal with people who spoof their IP addresses?
That's a ongoing issue. I'm predominantly like within Zoom Phone, but it's not isolated to just Zoom. All carriers are experiencing the issue, and everybody's working, thankfully, across industries to try to figure out how to address it. From a larger like collective effort, if you will, because it is widespread. It's not isolated to Zoom, but if we are aware of them, made aware of the issue, then of course we take action against the individual.
What
Because
does your IP address mean?
It's the address that is tied to your Wi-Fi or internet in which you can, or cellular connection that you utilize to join the meeting.
Is that-
Spoofing's when you trick the system into believing you have an IP address, but really it's not your IP address. And quite often Zoom will base its security on your IP address. And if you're booted, it's booted based on your IP address. But if you fake your IP address, you could probably come back with a different IP address next time and do it all over again.
I'd have to believe that folks who are taking the time, going out of their way to find meetings to Zoom bomb are doing it from behind a masked or a not real IP address.
Yeah, they VPN. They
Yeah.
use VPN. So that's what the other thing of like another suggestion that we make, and I know that it does provide a little bit of friction, if you will, for the legitimate folks, but one way that and I don't know if I didn't look at your settings ahead of the meeting, but if you make it so disable the ability to join from browser, that really helps as well. And I would imagine based upon the focus of this topic and meeting that most people would have a Zoom account and it wouldn't be an issue. So that is one way, because we have noticed that the majority of folks that work in nefarious ways tend to use VPN and or just join from browser, and they don't and when you in the second portion that you can do is make them actually authenticate, which is where they actually have to have a Zoom account. And so it doesn't have, it's not isolated to domains or anything, but it just those things in and of themselves help to deter people, because there's plenty of, meetings that they can find that don't require that would, that they can easily attack. So those two things are super helpful, because they recognize that requiring those things lead to them more likely to be caught.
Since you can tell who is joining from a browser, is there any way that we in the meeting, the host or the co-host, can tell how people are joining, or is that not information we have?
It's within some of the dashboards, but like at the time of joining, there isn't an indicator at this time. We are looking at ways to improve safety measures, as far as, about individuals that are joining. We're, just in beginning of stages of trying to make it so that there's additional ways to be able to show signals to the hosts as to who they may or may not want to let in to the meeting, or maybe want to ask additional questions or something like that. So browser is one. Also, lots of the things, talking about these days is like deep fake and the whatnot. So just making it so that you are who you say that you are. And so all of those things are being worked on.
We can't hear
Muted, David.
I know. Before I jump over to Robert, and then John, if it's okay, I want to just sort of do what you just suggested that we do. So I'm here in my Zoom account. I'm in settings under meeting, and what you suggested is, so for this meeting, now that's interesting. Why is that not? This always has a waiting room. Doesn't it? Yeah. That's interesting.
You in the right account, David?
Yeah, I am. I'm in the Zoom Test Kitchen account.
That's in the admin area, but is it for the actual meeting
settings
itself?
What did I do? Meeting settings.
David, don't forget this is a personal room.
It's a personal, yeah, PMI. No, but still, it should be.
You
Well,
have
in
to
any case,
you have to edit the meeting settings for this specific meeting.
Go to meetings
yeah.
at the top, pick personal room. That's where your
Oh,
settings are
here?
for your personal meetings. Yes.
Okay. And it's not letting me do it because we're currently in a meeting. But well, that's okay. Let's go back here though. So
Waiting room is checked there, you can tell.
yeah, okay. All right. So in any case, waiting room on. Beautiful. Meeting passcode. Da, da, da. So you had suggested only authenticated meeting participants and webinar attendees can join meetings and webinars.
Mhm.
Is that what you had suggested?
Yeah, that's what I was referencing. Yeah,
All
that
right.
means, and by authenticated, it just means that they're logged into a Zoom account.
Right. And so then down here it says meetings and webinars authentication options, sign into Zoom default, or I'm not sure what, no, that's just name. Okay. And then
There are a couple of other authentication methods that you can use, but they're rarely used.
right. Okay. And then the other thing that you mentioned was, which I'm actually not seeing here, although I know it's somewhere, is join from the browser. Let me let's search browser. Here we go. So show a join from your browser link. Now,
Yeah.
I just want to say that I by default make it as easy as humanly possible for anyone to come in. I'm a clergy person, and an educator. Like I have a hard enough time getting people to show up to services.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, no, I hear you, and that's why I preloaded the statement with. I know that it adds a bit of additional friction.
No, but it's
it
maybe
is
important
something
friction,
that
right? So show a join from your browser link. So if I were to turn this off, then those two steps that we just took should keep us a little safer. Number one, people can't join from a browser, and number two, which help me understand this. If you can't join from a browser, does that not allow you to use a VPN?
No, it does, but it's
Okay.
like, you have to, what it causes you to have to do is log in through the client.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's just, the difference is you're actually logged into Zoom using the Zoom client versus just clicking on the link.
Okay, great, fantastic. All right, I'm sorry that, Robert, I interrupted you. Robert, and then Lois, and then John, go for it.
Jill, I have two questions actually. You talked about moving someone into a waiting room, and I understand the implications of that, but there's also the remove option, remove from meeting, which is a pretty drastic solution because that person cannot come back. But what does that actually mean? Does he can't come back for that meeting or ever back to a Zoom meeting? What are the implications?
Yeah, it means to that meeting, and you do have the ability to change that setting to allow people to come back in, although it's not recommended. Because if you've booted somebody out, yes, it's drastic, but also you don't want, them to just turn right back around and join. And so, just from a safety perspective for the rest of your meeting, we don't do that. But also if there's for a peace of mind's sake, if you're like, oops, I did the wrong person, there is ability to change that setting so that they can rejoin. But ultimately to answer your question, it just removes them from that meeting. It doesn't stop them from joining a different meeting, a subsequent one in the future, and it doesn't stop them from joining other meetings throughout.
So we would have to report that person anyway. So
yes, because if you don't, right, and that's a good point. Simply just removing someone from the meeting doesn't alert our team, and so we have no way of knowing. And so the only way that we know to be able to investigate and take action against someone is from receiving a report.
That's very cool. And my second question is there any way that the host can have a peek into the waiting room to see who is there and look at the video feeds of those people before he lets them in?
Yes, that would be lovely, wouldn't it, to see what their current background is? Yeah, that's an interesting suggestion. Yeah,
You
that
know,
might,
you know
yeah,
why that could be helpful? I mean,
yeah,
I'm dealing with older folks who have no idea how to change their names. So they come in constantly as iPhone 1. And
Yeah.
and if I could see, but I know them. If I could see them, as Robert says, then I could, yeah, it's
Yeah.
really interesting.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is,
or they come in as Pokemon because they're using the same piece of equipment that their children use or something like that. So,
Right, right.
yeah, no, that is an interesting suggestion. I'll take it back to the product team and see if it's actually even been something that they've considered. Most of the time, probably not because of privacy issues, but it isn't helped at. It doesn't never hurts to ask. That's the way the way that I look at it. Worst you're going to get is a no, but if you didn't ask, it's the equivalent anyway, right? So I'm happy to inquire and see if that's ever been considered, and then I can share back with Ray once I hear back.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, before we just jump over to Lois real quick, Prema, thank you in the chat, said that this is what I post on in AARP Senior Planet, which is hacking into a conference call seems like a fun prank until you get arrested. Zoom bombing is a federal offense that could result in imprisonment. Ouch. Lois.
So we have gotten distracted with lots of questions. I'm wondering, I don't think Jill ever finished her explanation of what happened. What happens after someone's reported? Is there more you'd like to share with us on that?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. When someone's reported, it comes into our queue, and then I have a team of analysts that review them. And when they come in, we we operate essentially off of preponderance of evidence, in that, obviously the more information that's provided, the better, because that helps us to make an informed decision. But we, sometimes a perception or assumption is the fact of that, okay, they're going to go back and look at the meeting, right, and verify. We don't. So we're we're limited to, what's provided within the report, and then also metadata specific to the meeting. So we don't actually go back and review a meeting and say, oh, yep, they disrupted that meeting. And the reason why is because we take privacy seriously, and it's not, we don't need to necessarily review a meeting. We want to keep those private. And so what we do is we look at the preponderance of evidence. So for example, you say this person came in and they joined with John Smith or whatever, and they shared their screen and it was inappropriate content, and then we removed them, right? So we go and we look, and then we can see that, does that evidence line, does what we see on the back end line up with that? And if it is, then yes, then we will take action against that person. And then we do have an appeals process, because, we are human and sometimes mistakes get made. And so, if, for instance, if we made a mistake and actioned the wrong person for some reason or something like that, then, people have the ability to appeal and say, that wasn't me, or I don't agree, or whatever, and then we can look at it further. But that's essentially what we do. Screenshots are super helpful. It does offer the opportunity to do that within the reporting feature. So if, for example, if someone has like pornography or something like that on the screen, it is super helpful for you to go ahead and capture the screenshot, because if that provided is all the evidence that we need. And then, and in those instances, we actually don't offer, it's an unappealable offense, and that, we consider that something that, if you're going to act like that, we don't need to have an account on Zoom. So adult content disruption of a meeting is something that we don't allow people second chances on.
When you say that you take action, what does that mean? Take action.
Oh, yeah, good, very good question. We suspend the person's account. And there's a so we can take one or two or both actions. One is that we take action on the account itself. We will suspend the account. Another is that we can take action on the device itself that was utilized to disrupt the meeting, and that's the more aggressive measure, because when we block the device, that means it's blocked entirely for all of Zoom. It's not just specific to the meeting. And then obviously, if we block their account, they can't use that account anymore, but people can always just turn around and sign up for a new one. And so that's why, actioning a device is a more aggressive measure, in that it stops that process of them just turning around and creating a new account.
Fantastic. John and Frank.
Thank you. I thought I would just share the two biggest lessons we learned when the whole of Toastmasters International had to go online. And of course, being a public speaking organization, we wanted people to come and do public speaking, not public nudity. And the biggest problem we had was when we were running competitions, because it gets quite serious when we're competing with each other. There were two things that I always did. The first one is there is an option in Zoom when you're having meetings and webinars to register, and then if it's within an hour, go straight into the meeting. So we would turn that off, so people had to register, which meant they had to have a valid email address. If you're doing any marketing or any promotion of any sort, why would you not want to use the gate of, you've got to give me your valid email address to get the link back so you can get into the meeting? So at least I know your email address. And the other thing we used to do was at the beginning of each competition, I would open the breakout rooms and everybody came into the main room, would be validated, and then we put them into a breakout room. So we effectively put another level of rooms, because as we've already conversed, it's not possible to really do much when people are in the waiting room. So we used to have the main area as our effective waiting room. We would validate people, we would put them into a breakout room, because as a competition, we'd have guests in one place and judges in another place, whatever, it didn't matter. But what we would do is validate people, put them into the breakout rooms, and then when it was time for the competition to start, we would bring everybody out of the breakout rooms to start the competition, and we would lock the meeting so no one else could join us. And that's how we secured our meetings.
Yes, excellent suggestions. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, John. Frank,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Hi, thanks again. I'm a Zoom community champion. Quite often people post on the forum that they get an 1132 error. And I advise them to file an appeal with Zoom Trust and Security. And they say they put in the ticket and that they never get the ban lifted. It seems like you're probably banning their MAC address on their device, their machine access code. Is that ever reversed? And do you ever grant these appeals? Because it seems like in the forum, people are saying they never get their appeals granted.
So there's what you're referencing is the device block that I was speaking about earlier, and it's not specific to MAC address. But and I'm not going to share exactly what we utilize, but it is within the terms of services to the data that we collect. But it's ultimately based upon device, and it isn't. MAC address is not the only factor. But to answer your question regarding 1132 errors, yes, they are reversed, but it has to be that with the understanding of that the violation that prompted the block in the first place, or receiving the error in the first place, was something that was an appealable offense, or that it was a mistake. And so, ultimately we have levels of tiers within my team. And so if we have someone coming back when it's actually the higher level of analysts that process those requests, and so they're looked into every time to see why was the action taken, and what's this person's history? Have they had an appeal granted in the past? All of those things. So in that, to fall into repeat offenders issues. So ultimately, to answer your question, yes, they do get reversed. But what they did has to fall under, either it was an error on our part, which is, happens, but it's not very common, thankfully. And then second is that what they did, is something where, as long as they agreed to follow the acceptable use guidelines moving forward, that we give them another chance. That's the caveat on there. So yeah, you are directing them appropriately. They do need to submit. That's the only way to have it addressed. Second of all, I do thank you for your contribution to the Zoom community, because we really rely on you folks. So it's very helpful. So we
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks for the answer.
Dan is also saying that requiring a certain version number can further secure the meeting. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Why would that make it more secure?
Well, if you're, I mean, it may make it more secure against folks who just are lazy in updating. I don't know. It's yet another fence around your meeting. If
The
nothing
fence,
else.
and also too, like sometimes updates, measures that are in place from the Zoom side are version specific. Sometimes they're not, like, older versions, don't have the same engineering code that new versions would apply to.
Right.
So that's part of it as well.
Absolutely. What else have we got, folks? What other questions, thoughts, insights that we want to share? Yeah, John, please.
I am also one of the Zoom community champions, and I may regret saying this, but why is there not a button to take you from the Zoom program into the Zoom community if you've got a problem?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, you would think that we would make it easy to access the community that is a wealth of information. So that's a good suggestion as well. And I can circle back with you.
And what is a Zoom community? These questions
It's the forum, Lois, where anybody that wants to go to ask a question can just drop in and put their question in. The reality is that it's the only place, one of the very few places, that someone with a basic free account can go to get help. And even if you have a pro account, but you don't have any extra services or anything, you're limited to just submitting a ticket. Some people have trouble getting help in the community because they're asking these, well, I just switched from Windows 10 to Windows 11 and I've got this Lenovo thing, but I just, and it's almost impossible to help them. But many of them have just basic questions of, I made a recording and I can't find it, and we can give them some help. But yeah, it's an interactive website where people ask questions and get answers.
Is it an ongoing Zoom meeting?
No, it's a website, much like a place where you post topics and get answers to your topics. Go to community.zoom.com and you'll see what's going on. And you'll see John and Frank and I in there quite a lot.
Yeah, it's a amazing resource. It really is.
Pretty much.
Hi. I want to read what I wrote. Jill, I'm so happy to be here. This is like, I must be psychic because this is the first time I've seen your group. And then I thought today I would check it out. I am a volunteer co-host for AARP Senior Planet. I've encountered several Zoom bombers in the past several months and was successful in apprehending them, removing them and reporting them. I've even been able to capture their antics on video. What happens after the Zoom bombers are reported was my first question that I think you kind of covered. Today, I was attending an AI summit and was mistakenly removed from the webinar. So now I've seen it from both sides. I wrote a email to the event organizer, told them what happened. They reinstated me and I'll be able to join again tomorrow. But I want to know, am I on some kind of list now with Zoom that's going to reflect negatively on me? And also, when I was removed, it was crushing. It really hurt my feelings. And I feel like there should be a way to gently, kindly remove people, especially if they're not guilty.
Yeah, I can understand how, I mean, for you, especially where you're like, I was just removed for no reason and it was upsetting to you. And where, I mean, one thing that we have to remember is we are all human and we have feelings. So I'm sorry that that happened. You know, I think that it's always a balance, right? Because the majority of folks that are removed for nefarious purposes, you know, not necessarily innocent. And so it is always a balance game. But to answer your question, no, you're not on a bad list. You don't have anything to worry about as far as that's concerned. You know, you'll be good. You don't have anything to worry about. Like we don't, once again, that's just specific to that meeting. And, you know, as long as, you know, you weren't reported for something, then you should be fine because again, we operate off of preponderance of evidence. And so ultimately, if nothing within what you did matched what was being claimed, then we don't take action. So, and
I kind of wish there was a way to communicate with the person to try to have a conversation. Usually when I've caught them, they're trying to get out of there. So either I can't get them or I get them and I get so anxious, I like report them and then I've lost them. I can't communicate. And what I've been doing in the AARP Senior Planet is typing warning. Hacking in a conference call seems like a fun prank until you get arrested. Zoom bombing is a federal offense that could result in imprisonment. Is that okay to do that?
yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that the nice part about it is that, you know, you have the term could in there. So, you know, it's always like you know, yes, it's a possibility that it could happen. You're not saying that it will. So there's nothing wrong with, you know, presenting that. And also, you know, lots of folks that do it tend to be younger folks that, you know, may not necessarily, they just think that it's funny and don't really understand the ramifications of, you know, the result of their behavior. And so having a warning there, you know, might make them think twice.
Frank, go ahead.
So quite often I see posts on the community forum for people looking for advice who are hosting AA or NA type meetings, and they're getting Zoom bombed like crazy because they want it to be anonymous, so they're not requiring registration. You don't have to use your real name. Do you have any advice for those people on how they could keep the anonymous part of the meeting, but still have some measure of security?
Yeah, and yes, unfortunately, that's been something that we've struggled with for a long time. You know, several years it's been a battle, and especially because the links are posted openly, and so you know, and understandably because they want people to have easy access and all of those things. But it also, when they're posted publicly, it also makes it easier for people to find them, to disrupt them. And the anonymous portion does make it difficult because, you know, we can't suggest having people register, because then it's tied to an email. You know, the things that we suggest make it difficult to truly keep their meeting safe. You know, we have talked with some, you know, some of the things that we, you know, recommend here are things that we have suggested. You know, there's even to the point of that, you know, maybe even making it a point of that if somebody wants to remain anonymous, they could, you know, create this, you know, not something that we really encourage, but in that, for that group, it's something that would be okay. Like maybe they have essentially kind of like a throwaway email address that they only use that account for that. And then that,
Sure.
and that keeps them anonymous because the email is not tied to anything else. And they, when you sign up for an account, you can enter any name. And so that's a way that we have recommended, you know, that they could maybe encourage the folks that attend their meetings to do. And then that way they still feel like they've maintained their, you know, anonymous nature, but also the groups hosting the meetings have a little bit of another layer of safety because
Right.
because they are so broadly posted, they're readily available, and unfortunately it makes them a target, and we consistently see it.
Have you ever considered doing something similar to what Apple does, where Apple will shield your email and your personal details from other vendors and things, but Apple knows who you are? Could there be a where I could register with Zoom and have a Zoom ID that's anonymous to everyone else but Zoom, but I would be able to log into Zoom meetings?
That's interesting. I don't, to answer your question, I'm not certain. I don't know if that's been entertained or not. So y'all are a crafty group here of coming up with ideas. So
Welcome to the Zoom test kitchen.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. No, I love it. It's, you know, I love the creative thinking and problem solving nature of you. So I don't, but to answer your question, I don't know the answer of that, but again, along with the others, I can inquire and see if it's something that has been entertained, and then circle back with you all.
And if I can
Thanks.
jump in with maybe another similar idea would be a way for a person hosting a meeting to have a checkbox that says, you know, once you check that box, you can't uncheck it. This meeting is a private meeting and no information about the people will be shared, so that you could actually require authentication or something along those lines. But the, you know, meeting owner and the admins and so forth wouldn't be able to get details from that meeting. And then when you shared that meeting out, it would be some sort of special thing in the waiting room that says, this meeting is, you know, a private only meeting and your details won't be shared. So, some way to accommodate that particular use case. Cause like Frank, I see that a lot.
Yeah, and it is something that is it is utilized a lot by those communities, and that's actually an interesting kind of reverse use case in that, for example, for you know, medical doctors and things that use that, there is the privacy function that is utilized in that. Actually, none of the participant information is actually shared with Zoom. And so it's like, so it'd be an interesting thing to make it so that, okay, this data is not actually shared with the host. You know, that's a interesting concept. And I'll be sure to ask around and see if it's been entertained, but I like that as a suggested way to possibly work around that so that folks are able to continue to use Zoom for their, you know, health and wellness. Yeah.
Fantastic. Lois.
Okay, so this is the reverse of what we talked about before. If I am the host of a meeting, and this happened to me, it was a long time ago, it was a couple of years ago. If I'm the host of the meeting and there's someone I'm trying to do something with, in my case, it was rename, I've got the participants list, I've got the names, I've got the 3 dots, I click on it and I, oops, hit reject or remove instead of rename. And that person has now been kicked out of the meeting. What? All of a sudden, it's not there anymore. Now, 2 questions. First is when someone is removed, are they told that they're removed or are they simply no longer in the meeting? I mean, what does it look like on the receiver's end? And then the second question, is there a way that I can get to talk to them later? Or how can I find out how to contact them to apologize, to, you know, whatever. You shouldn't have been kicked out. I'm really sorry. Come back tomorrow. We'll let you in. So those 2 questions.
Okay, well, Prima can answer that because she just experienced it today.
Yeah, I think I saw something that flashed and said you have been removed.
Yeah.
That was it.
So that, yeah, it's not like an explanation of why or anything like that. And so, as to her point, she was saying it was abrupt. So there's that. And then as far as the being able to contact that person and reach out to them, you know, like there is ways in that, like requiring registration for meetings is one, because then you would have that person's information. And so, but beyond that, you know, it's limited if you're not familiar with who that person is, unfortunately.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
John, I saw a bunch of hands go up and then they all went down. I saw Robert and John, and did anyone want to jump in?
Well, I've just written the app to get you straight into the Zoom community. So now I'm going to have to work
what does
out how
that
to
mean?
release
What do you
it.
mean? From a Zoom meeting? Is that what you mean?
So I don't know. I've just done a very simple Zoom app that, you know, your little apps button on Zoom, you click it. So I've got one now that will put up a little box and it launches you straight into the Zoom community. So it opens the Zoom community window.
So
I did that literally in 4 minutes.
are you putting that in as a Zoom app that will show up in the apps?
Well, I will now make sure it's secure, and then I will probably promote it to the App Store and see if they go live with it.
And John, just one quick question. Does it log you into the community?
Well, you see, if it does, I'm going to have that conversation with Frank, aren't I? Now, I will give you the answer, but you might not like it. The answer is yes, I can. The answer to Frank is, under the new Zoom Scopes feature, which is where apps have to declare to Zoom exactly what data they extract and why, which is brilliant for security, but a nightmare for programmers, I could make it an optional feature so that although I will try and find out who you are, I think I can give you the option in the app to block it so I can't tell who you are. And therefore, I can solve the question for both of you. And I also worked out, actually, it would be really easy for those people that have anonymous organizations. It would actually be really easy to do an anonymous gateway. And because it's so easy, I'm going to tell you now in the next 30 seconds. So all you need is an external app with some sort of form to register. And when that registers, that then sends a message to Zoom and registers you on Zoom with some pretend email address. But Zoom sends back the link for that pretend email address to the app. The app could then provide that link to the person that subscribes. And now the person that subscribed is unknown to Zoom and therefore to the owner of the Zoom program. But it would have to be set up by the person who is running the meeting. So there would be a potential access for the anonymous data, but you could firewall it in some way. But it would be actually quite easy to do that. So you could have an organization, maybe a third party, who says, okay, well, we've got the data and we're going to delete it every morning. But this will register you into the Zoom app. And for 24 hours, we know who you are. And after that, we don't. Yeah, for those that don't know, I spent the last 2 weeks just learning about Zoom developments and developers kits, and I've been having so much fun with it. It's a very underused technology, and when Zoom takes over the world, everything will be in the Zoom world anyhow. So might as well get to learn how to use Zoom apps.
Did you attend the summit?
I did, but you probably don't want me in a public space to tell you what I thought of it. As
So
a product
John-
manager, I was a little bit disappointed. It was obviously aimed at the corporates and
Wait,
not at the great unwashed.
developer summit, you mean?
Yeah.
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 So John, will your app appear in add apps? Is that where you're saying?
You're
You're
muted,
muted.
John.
Yeah, you're muted, John. But yes,
John?
it would be in the.
Yeah, it will probably take a couple of weeks to get it published and then approved. But as I thought it was a good idea, I better get on and do it, hadn't I?
There you go. Wow. Okay. So we've solved the Middle East peace crisis. We've added an app to the App Store. It's been a busy hour. Jill, I want to be just conscious and respectful of your time. What a gift that you came today. And Ray, thank you so much for making the connection. This was completely sort of unexpected and just really so valuable, so valuable. Anything else that you think that we need to know? That, I mean, you're talking to a bunch of folks here, Jill, who basically help other people use Zoom. So, whatever you tell us is what we're going to tell everyone else. Anything else that is coming to mind about safety, security?
I just encourage to promote like the Zoom Safety Center, like on our site. Actually, it has a lot of the things that I mentioned just in this meeting today are provided there. So we do have resources available to help folks on how to actually make their meetings safer. And then just more than anything, just reiterating that, from our perspective, we do really care. We do look at every report. Doesn't matter if you're a free account or you're an enterprise account. We look at every one. And because of our stance on privacy, if you don't tell us, we don't know. And if we don't know, then we can't take action to stop them from continuing with the behavior. So while we know that we can't stop everything with our measures, we have made a lot of progress within the last few years with the measures that we do have. We'll continue to iterate as times change and trends change, we implement new things. And so even just the suggestions that you all have had today has been valuable for me as well. And I'll certainly follow up on those things and circle back. But, more than happy, I'm happy to have been of help to you. And by all means, if there's anything in the future or anything like that, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Amazing. And by the way, the link to the Zoom Safety Center is safety.zoom.com. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I got that right.
.us. .zoom.us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Safety.zoom.us. Thank you. And yes, here's this, right at the top, how to keep your meetings safe. Waiting rooms, suspend participant activities. That's help, but the button that many of us have on our Stream Decks, which is kind of just you press it and it locks down everything. Lots of really, really good information here. Lois, did you want to jump in? I saw your hand up before.
I was just ask for that link, but you've already said it, and we're good.
There you go. Ray, take it away.
Yours.
Hey, the one thing that Jill, I think you said, and I just want to confirm, it sounds to me like this queue that builds up. I mean, there are people really sort of there 24/7, sort of looking at that queue. Is that kind of true? And my really personal curiosity question is, what's the longest length that queue has ever been? I mean, is there a particular time of day or day of the year or whatever where, oh my word, we have to get more people on because the list is just long? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, it's that's an interesting question. We have almost round the sun coverage, not quite, but and then so we're close, but not completely. We have 21 hours a day coverage. And as far as the longest that the queue has been was back in 2020, when the queue was several thousand deep, and the team was just being established. And so the time frame on those was, close to a month for turnaround. Now I'm happy to say that we review tickets generally. The longest that they are at this point is 48 hours is the longest. So most of them are reviewed in less than 24.
I can confirm from the
Sorry.
Zoom test kitchen, 48 hours.
For anyone who has ever reached out to a huge corporation for customer service, the speed with which Zoom is able to respond to folks boggles my mind. I had a full-on conversation with a customer support person the other day about something completely separate. It wasn't safety, but like I have no idea how they have time for me. Like they have billions of users, and yet somehow they're able to be just as responsive as can be. 48 hours is amazing.
Everyone's important. That's how.
Yeah, there you go.
We value everyone. So,
Jill, thank you so much.
you bet.
Thanks,
Have
Jill.
a lovely, lovely weekend.
I will. You as well. And take care. And I love that what you're doing here. So appreciate it. And who knows,
Spread
I might
the word.
join.
You're welcome back
I might
anytime.
join in the future just to hear what y'all are talking about.
And we do regular Zoom, we do events, we do all the liminal stuff, all the ZoomOSC, ISO. We play with all of it. We're happy to have you anytime.
Anyone's welcome to join. So yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. All
All
right.
right.
Questions sometimes too.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all.
Take care.
Have
All right.
one.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jim.
Wow. Ray, thank you so much. Really.
Yeah.
Just so helpful and important stuff.
And part of the additional rationale I'll just point out is that, I didn't just tell her, hey, could you come in and talk to us? But the reality is we have other people that will watch this. And I also have to say that on occasion, in the various places, either Zoom community, maybe not so much, but also in the ZoomISO and the Zoom Events Pros group that Denise Lahat has, people will ask questions and I'll go, I know we talked about that on the Zoom test kitchen, and I'll send them the video link with the time code, says, go watch this particular thing. We actually had a place where people were like, why is Zoom dropping support for ZoomOSC on Windows? Oh my God, that's just horrible. And I pointed them to the time when Andy was on and talked about the rationale about that. So this is something I think now that when we get Zoom bombers, we can get this time code and sort of set it up for people to really get a lot of good information out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
We should paste these resources in the Discord under helpful, links or something.
Yep, I agree.
Set up another channel, David.
Okay. Lois, what you got?
Okay. So I came to the meeting today hoping that we could review the use of notes. Now, the situation is that we've got an annual conference coming up. There's a team working on a bunch of stuff. And I would like to have all of us able to get to the notes and leave notes for each other. And I know I can do that on Zoom, but it's been a long time. Can we review, please, what notes is, how it works, and how you can carry it over from not just within the meeting, but outside the meeting as well? Thank you.
Who's up? Who's taking it?
Well,
Yep.
I've used it. I can tell you my experience.
Please go ahead.
So I belong to a group that we're working on Zoom Studio, and we meet a couple times a week. And the host uses Zoom Notes to show us the agenda for the meeting, and we can add our own notes to it. The icon for it should be down on in the menu. It says Notes. And after the meeting, we get a copy of the notes.
All right.
Can you add someone who was not in that meeting, but maybe showed up to a different meeting of the team later? Can a person be added?
I haven't been on that side. I haven't been on the administrative side of it yet. I would imagine you could, because at the level of license that she has, she can do that. She configures it's like having a Zoom website builder, and you can present it however you want.
On the notes window, there's a share button, which I think you can just put in. I haven't
Yeah,
actually used it.
Frank just put a link in. How to share a note, create or open a note. Top right of the notes page, click
Nice.
share. Why don't I just do this? I'm going to open
Please.
up notes and bring it over here. Oh, how funny. This is, well, we talked about this a few weeks ago, how the newest apps, thank you, whoever spotlight me. The newest app, you could tell when an app is new because it doesn't have dark mode yet. So Notes does not have a dark background yet. He says that, let's see here, create or open a note. So we're going to create a new note. Here's my note. And then up here in the top, there's a share button. I can share it to this meeting. It knows that I'm in a meeting because I opened it from within the application, not the, I opened it from within the meeting, I should say. And external users can be invited, and they can invite others, link access. So all of this, I could, let's well,
Share to the meeting?
Yeah, I can share it to the meeting. I don't want to ask anyone. How would you like to open the note? Collaborating, viewing, allow persistent access to verified meeting participants after closing the document. So I'm going to go ahead and share that in the meeting. And so now,
David wants to start collaborating. I got a notification, David.
I love collaborating.
And so did I.
So there we go. And now we get into the Google Docs problem of everyone typing over each other and none of it making any sense. So yes, there you go.
You can format it so that it has sections, and then you tell your people,
Right.
Where to type.
Exactly. So, does that sort of answer your question, Lois? Is that,
Yes, and I assume that this note that you have just started will persist forever until everybody deletes it. Is that true?
say that one more time?
The note that you've created will now persist for all of the people who have joined in on it until everyone has deleted it. Is that true? Or is there one person in charge of deleting it and you delete it for everybody?
David's the owner, so he has control over that.
I think it's the owner.
You
yeah.
can set settings in your admin panel for how much length of time a note will last. And notes also take up space in your cloud storage. So if you're a big organization who's using a
They're
lot of
small.
notes, you may not want them to persist forever. They are small, but when you've got 30 or 40,000 people all making notes, they start to take up some space.
The other thing that I would mention, Lois, is some of us use team chat a lot. The Zoom community champions actually have a team chat place where, we want to talk to each other and ask somebody that, what sort of situation have you run into where this might apply or whatever. And team chat is another possible opportunity, not not a lot of people use it, but it is a way to then, directly collaborate, whether you're in a meeting or in a note, and I get a little pop-up that says, "Oh, Jill just sent me a message,"
So is that team chat something that a pro user could initiate, or is it just for the big boys?
No, anybody can use it. If you look in your menu of your Zoom client, your Zoom app, team chat is in there. And if you click there, you can basically initiate a chat with anyone that's in your contact list. Contact list is another topic entirely, but you really have to ask people kind of via email, hey, can you and I become a contact in Zoom? And, Frank and I and John and I think even Robert and Mike and probably David, are all sort of in my little team chat group. And it's also where I keep all my list of Zoom contacts.
So if I go down to those three dots and I find chat, it's just opening and closing the in-meeting chat thing on the side. So I can't
I'm talking about the actual Zoom client app where you have calendar and phone and up there.
Outside of
chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I screen share for a second?
Please.
So in account settings, notes, at the bottom here is where you set the retention period if you want to do that. So you can have notes last however long or little you want. And also, if you turn it on, if you're an admin, you can do notes management. And I can't stay in that for very long due to privacy reasons. So I'm not gonna, but yeah, there's other things there.
Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic.
My question is sufficiently answered and we can move on.
So I've been, for the past hour and 18 minutes, as we've been doing this, I have been fighting with all these other apps, all these other Zoom apps. So I thought, and it has to do with some of the updates. So first of all, the live streaming app, when we started the meeting today, we again used the live streaming app, and it went live. We are live now, but it went unlisted. Now, what I did is I created the stream in YouTube. It was set as public. In the live streaming app, what I didn't know is that it defaults to unlisted. And if you don't go into the gear and change that, I can show you here. If you don't go into the, I can close this note probably. If you don't go into the, before you go live, if you don't go into this and change it, then even if you've set it up to be a public stream on YouTube, it's going to be unlisted. So right now, our stream is unlisted. And in fact, I've got people on Discord looking for it. So if anyone has the link, I know that Mike, you put it in earlier. If anyone has the link, you can put it in and I'll copy it into Discord. But and then the app gets hung up. So in any case, I'm submitting a ticket, okay. So I'll finish the ticket later. But thank you, Mike. Let me copy this and just put it in to Discord. All right. The other thing that happened, now why is not, oh gosh. Have you ever been working in a window, one of those little windows where you can't do anything else on your computer until you finish in that window? That's what this is. First of all, you open report a problem, you can't move it. Like I cannot move this anywhere. And now I can't type anywhere else on my computer until I finish this. So that was a mistake.
In developers' terms, that's called a system modal dialog. The system basically forces you to do that so that you can't screw anything else up because it doesn't want you to.
And cannot see chat. Also, the stream defaults to unlisted, even though on YouTube.
That's a very cheap text to chat you've got there.
No, I'm just typing it. On YouTube, it was set to public. Okay, submit. Now I can type again. All right. Copy and paste. So that was one issue. The other issue was we had all these lovely updates from ZoomISO, ZoomOSC, and all that other good stuff. Apparently there was a, what did they call it? A hot something or other? There was a...
It's the quarterly update that requires you to be on a certain SDK by that date in August.
No. There were a bunch of updates, not just that. But in any case, let's look at the updates real quick. So the first one that I have here is the ZoomOSC update, and the big thing here is they added OSC support for meeting Q&A. So this is again one of those things that that caused me to buy a business license that I've never used, meaning the feature. I desperately wanted Q&A in meetings, not just in webinar. I got it now, I've just never used it. But it's kind of cool that I have it. So now you can have OSC support for meeting Q&A.
David, don't you get meeting Q&A when you use Events and Production Studio?
I don't use Events in Production Studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you do.
Yeah, you might. So that's here.
I was expecting Ray to chime in with the answer then, but he was holding himself quiet.
Is he taking a nap?
I don't know. He
Well,
seems to have woken up now we mentioned him.
Yeah, actually, gosh.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you, because I couldn't remember exactly. You use so many versions of Zoom, you forget what features where after a while, don't you?
I don't know.
I thought I had Q&A available in a meeting, and I do not have a business account, but I also do not see in the prerequisites for using Q&A in meetings that a Zoom events license gives that to you.
You definitely don't have to have a Zoom events license. You can get it in business, in a business account.
Right, but I'm just pro.
Yeah, you may be able to get it, right.
Further down in the boiler room.
Right. So that it seems is the big, one of the big updates. Added OSC outputs when share an event, starts and stops, and a few other things here. And it updated the Zoom Meeting SDK to version 6.0.1. So that's ZoomOSC. We also got an update to ZoomISO, which I have here. So now,
David, just before you go on, the
please.
update for the Q&A is obviously only for that application.
For ZoomOSC.
Yeah.
Right.
So that means that all those people that have written Stream Deck plugins and all the other things and all the vMix and all the other third-party developers will now have to write a bit of code in their apps if they want to link to that function. It's not just going to appear out of thin air, is it? Do you see what I mean?
Well, the Q&A is not new in meetings. That's not what's new. What's new is in ZoomOSC, listening for Q&A information is new.
But
to
then
John's
they will have
point,
to write in the
take
apps.
advantage to take advantage of that extra data that ZoomOSC will have.
Yes.
Someone has to write some code
Yes.
either in companion or external that will receive that ZoomOSC data.
Exactly. And so, yes, in the individual apps and the third-party apps, they'll need to include that companion. The companion module has not been updated yet to include this new stuff. I actually checked in with Justin today. Thank you. So ZoomISO. Now this is a little interesting. They've introduced an entirely new mode. Was that English? Called unique speaker mode. So unique speaker is active speaker minus other outputs. It's useful to use unique speaker as a wildcard output that will avoid duplication of other participants already assigned to outputs, such as during a Q&A session. This is very, very interesting. So let me, if I may, I'll give you an example of when you might want to use this. Let me think for a second about how I want to do this. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, I can't. Well, it's all right. What you see here is a Zoom meeting. Okay, I'm in a Zoom meeting. This is Tiles that I have running. So I've got all these people in my little meeting here. If I wanted to grab, say, the gentleman with the books behind him as a featured speaker, I don't want him to also be included in the gallery view or an active speaker view, right? I want to sort of excise him from my active speaker output because
So it's
he's
a video mix minus.
It's a video, yes, it's a video mix minus, right? But you get to identify who are you minusing out. So you can say these three from my panel, these three people are the primary panelists. The other 7 I want to be included in this unique speaker, or excuse me, these other 7 I want to be included in active speaker. I want these 3 to not be included in that, right? Which I think is a very interesting tool. And it's actually something that we've been, a third party that we've been asking for in the third party. So now that it's available here, that means it may be able to come to vMix and others as well. There's some audio submix things here. Updated NDI SDK, that's going to be important in a moment. Updated Blackmagic desktop video SDK and some other things. And of course, updating to the meeting SDK. But the big one here is that unique speaker, which is just very interesting. So then we get to Zoom Cuts, which is another update. This is the one that's just bringing them up to speed with the SDK. So Zoom Cuts didn't get anything new other than that. Tiles got a big update also. So Tiles added NDI support. So what I just showed you over here, before I had this Tiles gallery on a monitor, on a different computer, and then I was bringing that monitor in as a camera source using a video, whatever you call it. Now I got rid of that monitor. I'm just running this over here on this other computer, and I'm bringing it in using NDI, which is really nice. And transparency is preserved. So I am able to say, I don't want any background over here on my, on my tiles in my design, and I can bring it in, and it almost looks like they're just a part of my production over here, which is fantastic. Portrait video streams are now apparently appropriately cropped. Output settings now auto save. That's helpful. Slider responsiveness, pre-visualization slider for diffraction. A lot of things here. New import export workflow. I mean, just a ton of updates. It's exciting. This really is a very fun app to play with, and it's tremendously powerful.
Words, please.
I'm sorry?
Could we see the words? We're just seeing your tiles.
The words. Oh, the words.
You're installing
do
tiles,
that.
Dave.
I apologize. Yeah, so you can see all these notes, by the way, at liminalet.com. And everything was brought up to Meeting SDK 6.0.1. So in any case, lots of updates on all of these. I did submit that ticket on the live streaming because that's strange. But a lot of fun things to play with. Lots of fun. Are any of you using any of the, wait, sorry. This is important. This is actually really important. ZoomOSC. If you, like me, as soon as the newsletter came out, ran and downloaded ZoomOSC, it's broken. They pushed I don't know what it's, a hot fix, whatever it's called. They pushed a something as soon as they figured this out, which was right after the newsletter went live, announcing this. It's build 51 that you want. That's over here. You can see 4.4.1 build 51. What was broken was it was not communicating with Companion. And so in the first half of this meeting, none of my Companion buttons were working, and I was stressing out because I live in Companion and ZoomOSC. So, but you just have to go in and not be quite as jumpy as I am, and be patient and download build 51, and that'll get you fixed. So, what else do we have? What else are people doing? People working
Zoom
on?
Events got an update in the release notes. There's quite a bit of stuff in there.
Really? I didn't see that.
I didn't see one either.
Let's see.
I'm on the list.
It's scheduled for July 29th or something.
Hey, a quick question. How do I submitted a ticket. I submitted a what do you call it thing?
You don't know.
That was not helpful.
The
Sorry.
report?
Yes, thank
David?
you. I submitted a report. Now I don't even know where I did that. Where did I submit a report?
It was within it probably was a pop out that came out of the live streaming app.
No, it wasn't. It was
No? Okay.
no, because I actually looked there for one, but I didn't see one. Where did how do you submit a ticket, a report, guys? I know I did it. I just can't remember where. The reason I'm asking is because now I'm being asked for the ticket number.
You can do it under help.
Oh, is that where it is? Oh, that's
Report
where it
problem?
was. Yes, that's where it was. Help Center report problem. So do you know where I would find my where I'd
Yes.
find my ticket number?
So if you go to your web portal,
Yep.
in the top menu, there's a link for support. Support might ask you to sign in again. Just click sign in and it ought to grab your current login.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to support and
Click on my account, the pull down for my account.
support
Go
dashboard.
to support dashboard.
See, here we go. No records in case using that filter.
So you made a report, but it did not become a ticket.
Oh. Huh.
So that's part of what I kind of don't like about some of these things is that it'll pop up occurs and you can type in some stuff and they go into the black hole. They don't actually create an audit trail that you can look at to go, was I crazy or did I submit something?
So is this a request? Is that what I should be doing here?
I don't know what you're trying to accomplish.
I'm
lost
trying to
track of
submit a
that.
ticket.
Yes, this is the place where you submit a
This is
ticket.
where you submit a ticket. It's just the reason I'm asking is because they call it a request, not a ticket. That's the only reason I'm asking.
Yeah, Zoom terminology, don't get me started.
No, yeah, I mean, I just want to say it is a thing. Like up here, it says web ticket.
Yes.
Here,
yes.
and here it says submit a
This will
request,
generate
yeah.
a ticket. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's a request for a ticket. You don't have a ticket yet. You're requesting a ticket.
Oh, I understand. Okay. Now I have to remember what I
And while
wrote.
David is typing that, just to
Yeah,
let
go-
everybody know, when
you
I did
talk.
the actual, when I actually did when the Zoom Bomber report information came up, I did get an email letting me know that they were looking into it and such. And I did get a follow-up within the 48 hours. The follow-up for, within the 48 hours was okay. which basically said, here are links to more secure your meeting. But it really wasn't, they said it was resolved, which was great, but they said to more potentially secure your meetings, click on these links and, go from there.
It's typical banter from, sort of a tier 1 person. We looked at stuff, we didn't find anything. Here's some things that we think would be helpful to you. Yeah, I had the same. Don't get me started.
I know, that's why I'm trying not to get started too. I'm just saying that that's what I saw while David's been typing.
I'm not done. Keep talking.
David, could you spotlight yourself when you do this?
I will
Well, I'm
spotlight.
just, yeah, I mean, I can. I'm just typing. Even though there's a stream on YouTube as public. Okay, so there were 2 issues, and I'm gonna go ahead and then I do this, and it's gonna be other because it's not here. Where is it?
It might, you might just make it meetings. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
depends. I try not to make it other because it kind of goes Lord
Yeah.
knows where.
Area, performance settings and configuration, recording security. This is
I
kind
would,
of a settings.
I would say,
thing.
I would say settings there. Yeah.
All right, so now let's see.
There's a place there for add attachments so that if you have screenshots or whatever, you can upload attachments.
Yeah,
Screenshots are really good, or video clips. If you have like a link to a video, anything that helps them understand the problem will help your ticket process quicker.
all right. All right, well, so I'm gonna try and start our stream again, just see if, all right, so now
Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Oh, see, and now it worked, of course. Stupid.
It always works when you open the support
Always works.
screen first.
Find last
submitting
week's
it.
video and send them a link and a timestamp.
Right, now do it, now, all right, so now, so here's my ticket now. Right, is that my ticket number?
Yes, yes.
Beautiful, okay.
S-
All
So,
right.
can
so you
always
can
add-
actually look at my requests and you'll see a brief one-liner and you can click on that to update it, for example.
Okay.
You can also, I don't know if you can, but in my account, I can escalate to tier 2. There's a button for that,
You have a button? Wait a second.
or drop down. I don't know. Whatever
I
the
You got Premier
terminology is.
support. You have Premier support, or is that just part of Enterprise?
My both.
That's interesting. I
that's-
think I think that might be an enterprise thing.
I've never not had it, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any way to do that.
So that's not exactly true, David. You wait
Well,
until
the
you
way
get your response from your tier 1 person and you go,
Right.
if you don't mind, I've done all the basic things. Can we escalate this to tier 2? And I got about 50-50 getting that done.
I have a feeling that I'm not going to have to worry too much about that because I've been pinging the developer of this app as we've been talking, and I just sent him the ticket number, so I'm pretty sure that it's as elevated as it needs to be. But yeah. But I have to I just want to say again that you don't need to know people at Zoom to get responsive. Whether it's people who work there or whether it's Ray and Frank as community champions. I mean, there's so many good people working to help us all do this better. It's really pretty.
I'm gonna
fantastic.
push back on that just a tiny little bit. If you're a basic user, you really there isn't much help for you. Zoom made a decision a couple of years ago that basic users basically had to use the community forum, and there's not a lot else out there except for the chat bot.
Yes, and respectfully, I'm okay with that. If you're not paying,
Well,
for
a lot of
something-
people aren't. A lot of people
Well,
aren't
can-
okay with that.
Do you
Right,
mind if
you're
I
not
share my
paying
screen for a
something, yeah.
moment?
No, go for it. Of course.
Where did that go? I don't want that part. Yeah, that one. So this is a specific page, and let me get rid of that so I can see what I'm doing. That shows you what you actually have access to based on who you are and what kind of plan that you have. And so the basic plan has access to the knowledge base, Zoom community, and chatbot. The Pro plan, a user has very limited access and an owner has a little bit more access. You got the knowledge base, Zoom community, and chatbot. You can submit Zoom web tickets if you are a licensed user. You can get live chat support if your subscription plan is greater than $50 a month. And you can get phone support if your subscription plan is greater than $200 a month. And I asked the Zoom accounting people, is this an annualized thing? Because I bought a Zoom events license and it's pretty expensive and I don't exactly spend $200 a month. But with that, my annual rate would be over $200 a month. And they said, yeah, we consider all of that together and allow you to do that. So on rare occasion, I actually have called Zoom phone support on a pro plan, but many, many, many people just, they've got a $14.95 a month and you really can submit a web ticket. That's your
Yeah, the
highest escalation.
people with a pro account, a lot of them are very unhappy with how Zoom's doing the support. So they are spending money.
Yeah, but anybody who has, I don't know how many users there are, but there's
I know.
bazillions of them, you can't possibly afford to provide, direct individualized service to everybody. I understand that.
I think
but
the difference is before they used to, a few years ago, you had to wait in line, but you could, and now you can't.
Yeah.
I'll beg to disagree because we also use Microsoft Teams and WebEx. If I have an issue on a WebEx meeting, I put in a ticket during the meeting. Someone calls me within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but WebEx is Cisco, so they've got the whole of Cisco. But when someone from Cisco calls you, you better know what you're talking about because you're speaking to an engineer. And with Microsoft Teams, when we've had issues, we've had 4 or 5 hours of troubleshooting with a dedicated person there who is talking with us, going through the steps. And when he gets stuck, he turns around and he asks someone within the organization, comes back and he says, this is what the engineers have told me. So I don't completely agree with that. It's just the way that they're managing their business.
I think the problem is I've never used any of these other platforms, and so maybe I just don't have any comparison.
Adobe's pretty similar. The times I've actually had an issue with Adobe things, my only recourse is really to go to the community forums. The difference there, I think, is that they have a lot more professional, and I think in some cases employees that make the rounds in there, and it's also not a place where your average person paying $14 a month to attend a couple of meetings goes to ask, I've got Windows 10 and I moved to 11 and this doesn't work now. What's wrong with it? You've got people using a little bit more complex apps and paying a little bit more money, and they know they have to take care of them.
Yeah.
Frank and John and I stay very busy.
All I can tell you is my experience. Well, okay, so let me tell you, I'll give you a specific example. So I don't remember if this came up last week. I think it did. Vanity URLs.
Yeah.
So I asked Zoom for a vanity URL. Within 24 hours, they said, sure, we can turn that on for you. What would you like your vanity URL to be? And I sent it over to them. And then I had to prove to them that I owned that thing. And boom, I got it. What I didn't realize is that by grabbing a vanity URL, that was going to change every user's URL in my business, which I did not want to do. So
you can get subdomains.
So you can get multiple vanity URLs is what I did. And so I asked for that, and they got back to me. For anyone who is looking into vanity URLs, here's the thing. Apparently, is that you can only use a domain that you own, and it has to be a .com. So, for example, I own toratechai.com, so I could get toratechai.zoom.us. But if I owned fancypants.org, you cannot get fancypants.zoom.us. You have to get
I have a .ca domain. CA is Canada.
But what's the next level down?
Who are you asking?
CA? Yeah, you, Frank. What's the next domain under CA?
We are just CA.
EDU?
Now.
We're just CA.
No, we're just CA.
Okay.
So maybe I can only speak to US. In the US, if I have a .org or a like for example, I own ttg.productions. All they could do for me was ttg-productions.zoom.us or fancypants-org at zoom.us. So that's what I ended up getting.
They've also changed the rules in the system a lot. It's a lot tighter than it used to be. You do know you can change your landing page for your vanity URL as well. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am. But here's the thing, and you'll have to forgive me. So I did all this work. I got all these vanity URLs, and I have no idea what to do with that landing page. I don't understand what the value of that landing page is. I'll show you the landing page. I'll pull it up for everyone. But does anyone know why I even need that?
Well, because some people may go to the root, and the root gives you a standard Zoom connection, and you can change the content of that if you wish to suit your company brand guidelines.
Right. All right. Hold on. Let me find. I'm trying to find personal link. Is this my? No, it's just this. Bear with me for a second. Okay. So now I'm going to go to a new page. I'm going to put that in. All right. So here is. This is where my vanity URL leads.
Yeah, that's the vanilla version. Yeah.
And I haven't done any updating over here. Again, I'm just not clear on why this is. I'm never going to join from a browser. Why wouldn't I?
But lots of people join from browsers.
Not anymore. I just turned that off.
Well, because you turned it off.
but that join,
we shouldn't do that.
If someone has the Zoom app on their desktop, when they click that join, it'll activate the link in the Zoom app.
It's also where one place where you can turn on your single sign-on as well. That landing page is a place where you can link to your SSO.
Okay. Okay.
I put a link to the customized branding for your vanity URL in the chat.
Yes. It's interesting. The person who was helping me from Zoom, they also kept sending me this link. Every time I asked them if I could do another, if I could do a different thing, they kept saying, can you please just read the information that we've posted? So yes.
Yes, it's much better. In the old Wild West days, I got a vanity URL. I didn't have to check with anybody. It was just given to me, and it was all wonderful and lovely. And I've still got it now, even though I don't have a business account.
Right.
And and just to let you know how Wild West it was, when they first introduced the vanity URL, they just let anything .zoom.us go through. I mean, they're going to deny it, but you could make up your own URL, and you would still get into Zoom. So you could make up your own vanity URL. That you can't now. It's ring fenced.
Yeah, no, it's pretty locked down now. In any case, the point of sharing this was just that I had this. I mean, I must have gone back and forth at least 15 times with Zoom via email, and just within 24 hours, just very, very responsive. But again,
so those things that are basic requests like upgrading to HD and that sort of thing, they build a separate queue, and those are looked at pretty much timely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All righty. What else do we have? Anyone else have anything exciting happening in the Zoom world?
So this isn't so much Zoom, but it was something that came up earlier on when Jill was online. I cannot figure out, and someone said that you can do this. When you have a live stream on YouTube, you can trim it. You can add a first page, last page, but I have not seen the option to be able to edit something out of that video. The instructions that I've seen is to download it, edit it, and then upload it again. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that because someone said that and I didn't know. I had my doubts, but I just kept quiet. But I've checked it now. I can't find it. I can't see it.
At one time you could. There was an editor for the creators. I haven't looked at it recently. I'm not even looking at the right spot. Where is my camera? Am I looking at you guys right now?
Nope.
No.
We're over here.
Oh, you're over there.
Right.
Right.
Hi, James.
Hello. Let me get you guys in the right spot. I'm looking
Robert,
at this camera, not this one.
yeah, Robert, I do have a suggestion, and I don't know if anybody else has used this. Did you take a look within the YouTube studio to see if you can actually do the editing? And it's not there anymore.
I've never seen it, so I don't know if it was ever there. So I don't even know where I was meant to be looking, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Did you start another stream? I just got a YouTube notification.
Yeah, you got it working after complaining you didn't.
We can't hear you.
And we can't hear you, David.
Oh, gosh, sorry. No, I just went and I changed it from unlisted to public. That's all.
So you changed the original one.
The original one,
public.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. But ironically, 2 people are watching. I don't know which one I changed. It's so confusing.
Mike and you, David.
Yeah, I'm watching for sure, Dave. So that's a hint.
I mean, but I'm just, so you all know what I'm up against here. Like here, oh, let me do this. So, you know, here I'm back in my YouTube Who's He What's It, and I've got 2 that are live right now. The original one, which I guess is the original one because it's using our cover, but then this one, and this is here because I started another stream because I was trying to get a screenshot for the ticket, but then it started working. So the second one always works, but the second one doesn't go to the scheduled stream. That's the problem. It's just alive. And then this week, who was it? Was it Frank, I think? This week, I was gonna not schedule the stream. Oh, it was Mike's fault. I was gonna not schedule the stream because of this. And instead I was just gonna hit go live. And he's like, no, I need the scheduled stream or else I don't know where to go or something like that.
No.
No, that's
We almost have 600 subscribers. We don't have 100,000 yet, David, but we have almost 600 subscribers that actually want to know when David goes live, including Frank, which just got on his phone.
Right.
So,
right.
No. And for Robert's sake, I did find how you can edit your video on YouTube. It's if you actually go into David, I don't know if you want to demo this and I can walk you through it.
Yeah.
So if you actually choose a video.
Okay.
Just click on one of them.
Yep.
On the side, editor.
Editor. Where's
On the left side under.
Oh, yes, I got you. Editor.
There you go. At the top, you can do trim and cut.
Yeah, but I don't
that's
think
not what we're looking for, because trimming is just the ends, cutting is just
exactly.
Yeah?
You can't splice out so I had actually someone who wanted to splice out a piece. Like I want to take just this area right here and make it into a short or something. You can't do that. You can all you can do that as I understand it is trim it to here and cut it. Unless, wait a second.
So I think with the new cut, you can actually create multiple segments.
Yeah, let's see. new cut. Oh, wait. Oh God, what did I just do? Hold on. I guess you can't undo. All right, let me undo that. So all right, so here we go. So now let me just put that there. I'll do new cut. There you go. Look at this. Look at this, Robert. You click on new cut, and now I can take this one little piece. I don't even know what this is. Let's just see. Oops. It doesn't really matter what it is, does it? No, it
Of course
doesn't
it
matter.
does.
Oh, look at that though. This is, hold on a second. This is not going to cut. This is going to delete this part.
Yes.
I thought,
Well, if you want just a short piece, you can drag the blue pieces to the front and end of the short piece that you want.
right. But the problem with that is that this is your original video.
Correct.
So you cannot.
You want to extract a
excise-
piece.
Right. You cannot extract a piece. So you can cut something out, but you can't
Yeah.
extract it. That's
There,
what you
there
can
was a
do.
Zoom bomber in there, and we don't want him to be shown.
Oh,
Click.
that's how you. Okay, that's how we would do it. That's actually
Okay.
really helpful. Taking us
Yep,
full
that
circle
is
back to the
useful.
beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Good stuff.
Can you
Thank you.
undelete? Can you
Um,
undelete the thing that was deleted?
Can you save a copy? Because then you could hack up the originals, save it as a
Right.
copy and not save the original, change it, like don't change, save the changes to the original.
So if I
I'm
were to
talking
go,
about the one from last Friday.
right.
I-
So if I were to go back, well, I don't think that one's even up anymore.
Yeah.
But if I were to go back here, there is no copy. There is no way to
All right.
duplicate.
One of the tools I support looks exactly like that, and you can make an edit, and if you have two choices, save or save as copy, and if you save as
Mhm.
copy, it's leaves your original pristine.
Yeah. So let's see
And
here.
when you
Let me
save
go
it as a
into-
copy, do you get all of the stats from the original? In other words, some
No,
reviews?
now it becomes an independent new video media piece.
Okay.
Upcoming. What is upcoming? I don't know
Scheduled
what that is.
for
Yeah, but
later.
it's not. It's scheduled for July 4th. I don't know what that is. All right, let me go in here again.
We can't see what you're doing.
Oh my Lord.
Well, you're
Yeah,
talking
tell me
about
these
it.
things.
Now we want
Yeah,
to see
tell
it.
me these things, guys. I sound like an idiot. Okay. So I'm going to go into editor. And so trim and cut. I'll just put that there. I can do new cut. So now, before I do anything, at this point, I can still exit out or do that. Let me actually, I'm going to actually, do
And
something
David,
Yeah, you can discard changes at top right hand corner, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm going to do this.
the
I'm
three
gonna-
dots, David, you could go back to original if you do make a mistake.
All right, so I just did a cut, so that is now out. It's going to play through and it cuts right. I can discard changes, or so this will discard all the changes, or I can go back here and I can trash this one, or I can even
change
edit
it.
Yeah,
I missed by 3 seconds. Yeah.
yeah. And then presumably once I save it though, then
What's in the
it's
3 dots? Is there?
revert to
Revert to
original.
Yeah. So just in case you really blew, made a heck of a mess, you could actually go back to the original.
Yeah,
as
but
it
I
is
wonder,
for your
but
editing.
I wonder if you can do that after you've saved it. Let me go ahead and I'm going to save this. All right, save change. It might take a few hours for those changes to apply. During that time, viewers will see the current version. You won't be able to make other changes to the video. The original version of your video will be stored so you can undo your edits. There you go. Oh, but only until this goes live.
Yeah.
Once the changes apply, then I don't think you can go back.
Look on the learn more, might be a little bit.
All elements and edits will be removed from your video. This change cannot be undone. Revert to original.
Except by redoing them.
Except by
But
redoing
this
them,
is,
right.
yeah, but this is really super useful for situations like we had last week. Just
Yeah.
continue the stream, get to the end, cut it out, and we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
agree.
also the blur option if you just wanted to mask some content or somebody's face or whatever,
Yep.
which is quite neat.
Very nice. All right, folks.
You're
I
a
think we-
very educational person, David. We learn so much when we're with you.
I learned so much when I'm with you. Boy, today was great. Again, Ray, really want to just kudos to you and thank you for inviting Jill. That
Yeah,
was fantastic.
absolutely.
We got the OSC, we got all the updates, and then the second update from OSC, so that's fixed now. We have a ticket in for the streaming app, and I think we're good to go, my friends. Wishing you all a lovely, lovely weekend. Unless I don't want to cut anyone off. Prema, it was so nice having you here. Come back and visit us.
Thank you so much.
What a joy. What a joy. Hoping you all have a fantastic weekend and support England in the footy. I don't even know what a footy is, but John's telling me that I should support England in the footy. What's a footy?
The European Championships of countries.
England and
those
Spain.
people across the road.
Is this a
Or
sport?
soccer.
Oh, soccer. Okay.
Yeah,
Football.
the one with the round ball, David.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
The
one
real-
that they say don't
The real
pick up.
football.
The real football, exactly. All right. Have a lovely weekend, everyone.